Hi guys, it's Jake at Canadian Cutting Edge, and you won't be able to guess what I'm going to review today. I'll give you 3 seconds. Guess. No, you're wrong. What I'm going to review today is a new cell phone. This is the Xiaomi Redmi 4. That's a Chinese brand, very high-end quality brand. They can sell it for $170 US, and that gets you a phone. It's actually better than any of my other phones that I have, to be honest with you. I used to work for Nokia. I've played with high-end phones. I know what they're like. That was before they got sold to Microsoft, and they had an office in Ottawa, in Canada. And I did tech support for them, and I really enjoyed that job. But that's blabbing on. This phone, I'll tell you a little bit of the story about how I got this phone. Back when my phone was starting to die, those of you who've been with my channel for a long time remember how the sound got out of sync with the video and I was getting all kinds of problems. And I needed a different solution. And the first thing that I tried was another cell phone. And I got GearBest. I contacted them and they said, we'll send you a cell phone. And so I got one of the really lower priced ones. It's right around $120. I won't even say the brand name. I got the phone after I took slow shipping so that I wouldn't have to pay for the shipping. They paid for the phone, and so after about three and a half weeks, I got it, and the camera didn't work. The main thing I wanted for the phone was what was failing on it, and so I sort of said, okay, I'm giving up on this idea, and I'm going to get a camera. Just a new camera, and I wanted to get a DSLR, and I ended up getting the camera that we're using now, which is just a camcorder, the camera that is taking this picture right now, and that's the main camera that I use. But my contact at GearBest, she ended up sending me this, and today I'm going to finally review it. And I really like this phone an awful lot. It's become my main phone already. It's better than the phone I used to have. That being said, cell phone plans are expensive in Canada. Quite a bit more than they are in the US. And they're one of the more expensive around the world. But I've got a really old plan, very limited. I have texting and calling. No data whatsoever. And I get unlimited texting, but only 50 minutes of calling during the daytime hours, local. 50 minutes of local calling during the middle of the day. That's all I can call unless I want to pay like 50 cents a minute. But it's really cheap. I'm only paying $46 for 2 of those phones, one for myself, one for my wife, and a cellular-based home phone. Kind of unique. 46 bucks a month Canadian for all of that, really cheap, which means when my phones get old and it's time to get a new phone, they give me a pretty low-end phone. This is much higher end. I'll tell you the specs on this and what I think of this phone. Again, this is the Xiaomi, and there's their logo, their Mi logo, M-I. Redmi 4, it's a 4G phone, and 3 gigs of RAM, Snapdragon 625 CPU. Let's talk about the specs while I show you the tabletop review of this phone. Actually, before I do that, do this earlier. The reason I'm doing a phone review in part is I'm a firm believer in having spares of most things. When your phone dies or has a problem, or you drop it and you just smash the screen to bits or whatever, I live about an hour's drive away from where I can get my phones replaced. The cell provider that I'm with, the closest stores they have is either an hour north or an hour south. So I like to have a spare on hand. And this phone would be a really good spare for those of you guys who like to have high-end phones. And I know there's a bunch of you guys out there. Because with this phone being, 3 gigs of RAM, Snapdragon 625, Android 6 for $175 US, that's not a bad deal at all. And that's outright unlocked, ready to go. You can throw 2 SIMs cards in it if you want to, so you can have dual numbers. You've got external, so you can put in an SD card, a micro SD card, and you know, it's a really good phone. So let's do a close-up review of this phone. I will also include some video and some photos that this phone takes because the camera is very nice. All right, there's the phone. Let's go through the specs here before we get way too far ahead of ourselves. 5.5-inch screen, Snapdragon 625 octa-core at 2 gigahertz. The graphics card is the Adreno 506. The RAM, 3 gigabytes of RAM. Android 6. The rear camera is 13 megapixels with autofocus and a flashlight. The front camera is 5 megapixels. Bluetooth 4.2. GPS, assisted GPS. It's got an accelerometer built in. An ambient light sensor, gravity sensor, gyroscope, infrared, proximity sensor, fingerprint scanner, dual SIM card, micro SIM and a nano SIM, or you can do 1 SIM and a micro SD card. It works in 2G, 3G, and 4G, and a wide variety of different frequencies. And this is the international version. You've got personal hotspot that you can use, just everything you expect a high-end phone to have. Aluminum body, there's your volume rocker, your start button, wake up button, whatever you have. There's the port for opening up your SIM card. Speakers down at the bottom, USB port right there. The fingerprint scanner is actually very quick. Let's turn this off here. And I just put my fingerprint on. Let's see if we can get it the shot right here at the same time so that you see it happen at the same time. See that? I just tapped it and it turned on. I didn't even have to hold my fingerprint on there. It's off right now. Just tap it and it's awake. Very fast fingerprint scanner. I like that an awful lot. And then you've got your no buttons down here, but you've got your, there you go, you can see it on the screen, the return arrow, the home arrow, and the menu button. Really, really fast. The screen, look at the colors on that screen. It's really hard to see on another camera because I have to have a good camera to pick up how well the screen is, so it's really hard to tell. You just have to trust me. Very bright, very vibrant. Easy to read outside in direct sunlight. It's very responsive, you know, very quickly changes, you know, it swipes, opens, you know, it's not a slow phone at all for doing whatever you need to do. It's not the super fastest, it's not a high-end, well, it's not the highest end phone, but it works really, really well. Your, the menu here, there's the list of the different settings you've got. You know, loads of different options, themes. Of course, it's got themes. It's really hard to say what is strange about, or sorry, what is unique and special about this phone because every high-end phone has all these things. So let's just see if we can get this clear shot here. There you go. So the model is the Redmi Note 4X. There's your version of Android. When that security patch came out, there's the model for the MIUI. Octa-core, 2 gigahertz, 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs internal memory, and that's just the internal version of the model. And you know, you button right there for doing updates, and it's already got the MIUI 8 update in there. Very nice shape to it. Feels really good in the hand. Everything's nicely rounded. Feels comfortable in the hand. I'll give you the weight and the dimensions. I'll put that on the bottom of the screen right there. The glass is beveled on the sides. What kind of glass is it? It doesn't say on those. I don't have it on the printout what glass it is. I'll put that on the bottom of the screen right here too. Really, really nice phone that I'm just flabbergasted by. for being only $175 US. I especially like the camera. So here you go. I'm going to give you some still shots that are going to be on the screen next. And then the video that you'll see after that is video that this camera took. And then we'll come back for our final thoughts. Here's some of the video. There's my backdrop there. You can see it takes really good resolution video. Oh, that's a light from the camera. You know, a bookcase, all the colors there. I forgot to tell you that I already did tell you it's 13 megapixels. There's my coffee. Moving from light and quickly to dark. See how quickly that adjusts? It's a fairly dark basement, so the lighting down here isn't the best, but the camera compensates very well, you know, between a very bright spot and then you go to a darker spot and it adjusts very quickly. I like that an awful lot. This thing's only 5 megapixels and it looks quite good and it responds quite quickly. Oh, my hand's over the camera. Sorry about that. I like this camera a lot. I like this video. I like the cell phone. The talk quality is really good. I've tested the talk quality. Very responsive, very fast. Battery life is about 2.5 days for me, the way I use the phone. It's very windy out, so we'll see what the audio does with this wind. But there's our grass. Take a look at the sky. The sun's just off to our left a little bit. Yeah, we've got some weeding to do in this flower bed. You can see my shadow there. Yeah, the snow's melting, but we still had a bunch of it the other day. Let's turn over this way. Bird feeder. Let's see what it looks like if we just walk up nice and zoomy. I'm just like 2 inches away from that glass, and see, it's not focusing the best for the video. But if I back off about 8 inches, it looks quite good. That's what 8 inches away from that fake window. The fence between our yard and the neighbors. And this is the main part of our backyard. This is where all the fun happens. This house was built before there was town water. So there's a well right there. So that's the cap for the well. We've turned it into a fireplace, a fire pit. Good sized backyard. Lilac bushes. Okay, so there we go. There's the camera. There's GearBest coming up. If you want to get this camera, if you want to get this phone, you can get it from GearBest. I got the link in the description below. It's a really good option if you ask me. I really like it an awful lot. I don't have anything bad to say about it. They've got really economical cases for it. They've got glass that you can put on, protection glass that you can put onto it. You can have, see, that's just through my Wi-Fi and how quick it's responding. Hit the share button there, whoops. And, you know, it's a very responsive phone, very good. The accessories for it are easy to get from GearBest at the same time. I like this phone an awful lot. I recommend it. If you like this video, please click on like, even if you don't like the phone, if you like the review. I'd really like to hear your comments. Thank you for subscribing and liking and sharing. And I really appreciate everything that you guys do for this channel. It means an awful lot to me. Have a great day. Bye now.